So it's now time for the match day 3 predictions for our Scottish Premiership season for 25-26, which has gotten off to an interesting start for a lot of teams, a predictable start for some others as well. This weekend we only have 4 games taking place due to the playoff rounds for both Hibs and Aberdeen. Their games have been postponed. Celtic and Rangers have taken the choice not to postpone their games. So there's go ahead, giving us 4 fixtures to talk about. But before we get into those, if you are new around here, please consider checking out some of the older content on the channel, liking and subscribing. But without further ado, let's get into the predictions for our Scottish Premiership fixtures for match day 3. So, on to our first of 3 fixtures on Saturday, Kilmarnock versus Dundee. Both teams relatively steady starts to the season domestically for the league, although Dundee probably less impressive than Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock, of course, having contrast in opening games, going 2-0 up against Livingston at home and then getting that red card and dropping 2 goals to draw. And then they came back from 2 goals behind to draw with Hibs at Easter Road, which seems a good result for them there, of course. Dundee, really poor result at home against Hibs, not a lot of shots on goal. They did only get beat 2-1 though, and then they'll be feeling aggrieved that they didn't come away with the 3 points at Ibrox after a really solid defensive performance, anti-football if you like, and they managed to catch on the break a couple of times and scored from a set piece. I would anticipate that Dundee would try to come out a bit more for this game, and that as a result we'll see Kilmarnock pick up the 3 points at home. I did say at the start of the season I feel as though Kilmarnock's most of their points will be picked up at home, and I'm going to predict a 2-0 Kilmarnock win in this one. On to a game that should be a relatively good watch. Shame it's not on TV. We've got Hearts, who have a 100% record in the league this season, against Motherwell, who have 2 draws, although they might be feeling aggrieved that they haven't at least gotten 1 victory out of those. They drew last time out with St Mirren, of course. Hearts did draw with St Mirren in the League Cup and get knocked out on penalties. Motherwell went through against St Johnstone. I do believe that Hearts will be looking to bounce back as quickly as possible from their League Cup exit, and I think with them being at home at Tynecastle, they will do just that. I'm going to go for another 2-0 win in this one. On to Celtic versus Livingston. Of course, Celtic coming off the back of a disappointing Champions League result, and they're going to have to travel to Kazakhstan for a Tuesday night fixture after this game, which could see a lot of heavy rotation as well as injury concerns with Alistair Johnson, who it was confirmed will be out for 12 weeks. Minimum by Brendan Rodgers today, and it was also mentioned that both Adam Ida and Austin Trusty are carrying injuries as well. So I think there'll be a lot of rotation for Celtic, not just because of the injuries, but also because they want to have the best squad available to them to play in Kazakhstan. So Livingston have never had a better chance to win at Celtic Park, I reckon. Livingston, of course, coming off the back of a thumping win last time out in the league at home against Falkirk 3-1, but a disappointing 2-0 exit to Hibs in the Scottish League Cup. So they'll be looking to try and bounce back from that. Even with rotation though, I do believe that Celtic will come away with the win here. However, because of the heavy rotation, I'm not going to predict a thumping win like Celtic had last time out domestically against Falkirk in the Cup. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Celtic win in this case. And on to our final Scottish Premiership fixture of the weekend, and our only Sunday fixture. It'll be on TV on Sky Sports, and it's St Mirren against Rangers. Despite the fact that Rangers, odds-wise, are going into this game as favourites, the question is, do Rangers decide to rotate at all? They are in a pretty difficult position in their Champions League tie, being 2 goals down, having to go away from home, and they haven't performed well away from home in the Champions League so far this season. So do they rotate or do they accept defeat, if you like? Russell Martin says that the tie's not over, so we could see some rotation. Of course, Giga's suspended for this game after that massive mistake that he made against Bruges. That might not be the worst thing in the world for him to have it sitting a game out, although I do think he settled down in the second half there. St Mirren, a last-minute goal costing them a point at Celtic Park, and then picking up a point against Motherwell last time out. Of course, they'll be happy that they knocked Hearts out in the League Cup as well, so they'll be feeling a wee bit confident about themselves. And I do believe that this one is going to result in more dropped points for Rangers. It's a really difficult venue for them to go, and last time out, the last 3 times out against St Mirren, they've failed to pick up a win as well, losing twice in that time. So I think it's a really difficult place for them to go. And as a result, I think they will drop points. Like I said, whether it's a win for St Mirren or not remains to be seen. I wouldn't be surprised to see a win, but I'm going to go conservative and go for a 1-1 draw in this game. That's going to do it for the prediction videos for the match day 3 in the Scottish Premiership. I will do a separate video when the fixtures for Falkirk and Hibs and Aberdeen and Dundee United are due to be replayed whenever they are, or played whenever they are, after the qualifiers. I think not this midweek coming because that's when the playoffs are, but the midweek after they might be rescheduling them for them. So I'll do a video for them separately, and of course I'll be reacting to all of the playoff fixtures that are on television. I'll be reacting to the St Mirren Rangers game as well. I think, given the fact that they picked Aberdeen and FCSB, they might go for Hibs and Legia Warsaw on TV for the Thursday game. But of course, on Tuesday we've got Celtic versus Kairat, and on Wednesday we've got Bruges versus Rangers. Although I will miss some of the first half because I'm working for the Celtic game because of it being an early kickoff in Kazakhstan. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.